Is there the plaque?
Yes, she's got it. You got this? In there somewhere?
The March 7th, 2024 meeting of the Dublin City Council is hereby called to order. I'd ask for Sonny Wilkes to please provide our invocation, if everyone can please stand. And then at the end of the invocation, we will say the pledge to the flag. Mr. Wilkes.
Let us pray, everybody. Lord, we thank you, Heavenly Father, for another beautiful day. We thank you for every single blessing, Lord, you blessed us with. I pray blessing and favor over the leadership of Dublin. Make this meeting fruitful and productive, Lord. We pray blessings over our law enforcement, military, firemen, emergency technicians, Lord. Bless them and their families. We pray, Lord, for every pastor, every congregation, every member, that your good hand would be upon them and rest heavily upon them. Continue to bless our city as we grow together and labor together and pray together, and your will in all of our lives be accomplished to the glory of God the Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Wilkes, if you could just introduce your guests that you have with us this evening. I know at the end at Citizens Comments you are going to have an announcement, but if you could just introduce your guests.
Okay. This is our steering committee for the Let Unity Abound rally that we're having in a few days, and Andrew will tell us about it, at the Dublin City High School auditorium. Andrew Roundtree is the chairman. Pastor Phil Bruce, Cornerstone Assembly of God, is a member. I'm a member, and several others could not be here. But it's something that we are having to bring community together and to help each other and to worship together.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And again, we'll have comments at Citizens Comments at the end of the meeting, but I appreciate you giving the invocation for us tonight. We'll now move into a special recognition. We have a special recognition tonight for Miss Georgia Conway. Miss Conway has served for years on the Housing Authority Board. Miss Conway, if you would come up, please. We've got a special presentation for you. Tonight we're presenting Miss Georgia Conway with the Distinguished Service Award in honor of her dedication and years of loyal service to the Dublin Housing Board of Commissioners and the Dublin Housing Authority Resident Council Executive Board. Ms. Conway has been on the Dublin Housing Board of Commissioners for 11 years, having been appointed by Mayor Phil Best in 2013. She is also a member of the DHA Resident Council Executive Board of Officers, serving as their secretary. In 2023, Ms. Conway was awarded the prestigious Calvin O'Neill Trailblazer Award for her outstanding service to the DHA Board of Commissioners. As the resident member of the board, Ms. Conway's years of selfless service to her fellow residents not only made a difference in their lives, but served to make an impact on the health and well-being of our community for years to come. Ms. Conway, on behalf of the City of Dublin and the City of Dublin City Council, we want to thank you for your years of service to the Dublin Housing Authority and wish you much fun in your retirement, and thank you again for your service to the board. I understand Ms. Conway was playing bingo this morning, so. All right. We'll now move to our agenda. Do we have a motion?
So move.
A motion to amend the agenda?
Yes, I make a motion to amend the agenda and to include the approval of our new municipal court judge.
All right, we have a motion to amend the agenda to add an item for the approval of a municipal court judge. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We'll add that as item This will be added right before discussion and action on board appointments. So this will be between item 9 and 10. All right, we'll now go into our regular agenda items. The first item is the approval of the February 15th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. You've had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes. Are there any changes requested by council members? If not, do we have a motion? We have a motion to approve the minutes from Councilman Griggs, a second from Councilman Brown. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2 is approval of bills over $15,000. Mr. Powell.
Council has a copy of all the expenditures of the city since our last meeting.
Any questions regarding those expenditures? If there are no questions, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Griggs, a second from Councilman Smith. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 3 on our agenda is approval of purchases over $15,000. Mr. Powell.
We have 3 purchases for council's consideration tonight. The first is a gate for Earlwood Drive. This is part of the Cycle 1's traffic calming. After doing a study over there, it was determined that closing Earlwood Drive at the Veterans Side entrance was appropriate to curtail the cut through and the speeding that's been taking place there. And this is the method that staff is recommending to council to do that. We gave an option for the neighborhood to participate in this so that they might have access to the gate if they wanted to use it, but they have declined that offer. And so the cost of this is from Garrett Fence Company as well as Moy Electric. We'll have to do a little bit of electric work over there. The total is $16,780 for this fence. This will be an aluminum black fence that will be functioning. It will have a garage door type clicker that will activate it, that will be provided to emergency responders, our sanitation department, and as well as our street department, and any other workers of the city who need it to gain access. We'll also provide to all emergency responders, so any EMS or medical that might need that access for ease of access to the neighborhood, as well as the school system for their buses.
And this is paid for out of our traffic calming project budget?
TIA discretionary funds, yes, sir. The next item is Kristen and Ellington Design Services for a pond for Springdale Park and Stubbs Park. This is for land surveying. They'll be doing hydrology studies, civil engineering, and construction staking for both projects. We'll have an item later on the agenda concerning our Parks Master Plan, but this is kind of the first step towards implementing our Parks Master Plan, getting the engineering done to make sure that we control these ponds and build them out appropriately. The county has agreed to provide this service in the pond building for us, and we're very thankful for that. But we need to have a plan in place and something on paper that they can look at to do that. The total cost for Springdale is $22,800, and for Stubbs is $38,280. This will be paid for out of the ARPA funds that the council has earmarked for master plan implementation. The last item for purchases is traffic calming striping from mid-state striping. This is to, if you've been on Cardinal or Edgewood recently, since we've resurfaced and painted those stripes on the road, there's a lane, a third lane that it appears is there. That is our multimodal lane that we're hoping to use for pedestrian and bicycle traffic designation only. And so this striping is needed to paint the necessary pedestrian and bicycle symbols along that route to make it clear that that is what that lane is intended for. In addition, there will be crosswalks that will be hashed out along those 2 roads, as well as we'll have a couple of speed cushions installed. There'll be 4 sets of those, that'll be installed, and that will involve Woods and Village Circle, and we'll do the appropriate striping to indicate those are coming. The total cost of this is $26,500. Those are the 3 purchases for council's consideration. We ask that you approve those.
All right, so we went over most of these in the pre-council meeting. Are there any questions now for staff regarding any of these 3 purchases? If there are none, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion to approve the purchases from Councilman Colby, a second from Councilman Godfrey. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We'll now move to item number 4 on the agenda, which is a presentation by Brenda Smith, the Executive Director for the Housing Authority of the City of Dublin. Ms. Smith, thank you for coming this evening. Always a pleasure to see you here at City Council, and I'm going to turn the mic over to you for your presentation.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. I hope everyone is doing well, and it is good to be here again. It does not even seem like it's been a year. As you know, it is our obligation to present to the city an annual report, and I've given you a copy of that there. Now I just want to go over some of the items that are contained in the annual report. As you remember, we have 540 units of public housing in Dublin, with 495 located within the city and 50 in East Dublin. Our total occupants, though we have them broken down by the actual areas, is 1,060. 603 of them are adults, 457 are minors. The average income for our apartment dwellers is $13,000 a year. The average head of household is 47, and the average years of tenancy is 5.75. So once we have looked at all of those are the statistics for the residents living in the Dublin Housing Authority. We have also included our last independent audit with spending, and housing authorities are given 9 months after the close of their year in which to submit the audit to HUD for approval. So what you see before you is the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022. And one of the things that I would like to bring to your attention, it's kind of difficult having it behind you. Okay, but it is the statement of net position. Okay, found within the audit. At the end of 2022, our current assets were $7,170,000. We had total assets and deferred outflows of resources in the amount of $14.5 million. And we balanced with a net position of 14.5. On the next financial sheet, which was our statement of revenues and expenses, in the total rental income, we received $1,132,907, and we received HUD grants in the amount of $2,723,921. The thing that we are most proud of is our financial statement findings. There were no audit findings disclosed during this year of the audit period. So we were very happy with that. And if we could fast forward. To the 2023 payments to the city. to the end of that report. I did not realize that we had included the entire report. Hopefully you all like to read. I know our mayor does.
We don't have that on ours.
Okay.
It's in your, it's in the full packet on your.
Yeah.
Okay, last page is coming up. Where is Robert?
Well, we have it right here.
Fighting with Dre today. Dre to the bottom, yeah. Oh, my bad.
Well, the next thing on the PowerPoint is the 2023 payments to the City of Dublin. That's it. We made it. We made it. This chart tells the amount of payments that we made to the City of Dublin in the year 2023 for utilities, a safety officer contract, and payment in lieu of taxes. And in totality, it was $853,862. And we had them broken down by the months and the amounts of the payments. Next. Future plans, and that is what we are concentrating on tonight. But before we can get in that position, we must address the statutory mandate that is before us. It is called HOTMA, and it is the Housing Opportunity Through Modernization Act of 2016. Yes, it was enacted in 2016, but it has taken all of these years to come to fruition. It is a statutory mandate, and it was signed into law on July 29th, 2016. It makes sweeping changes to the U.S. Housing Act of 1937, especially those affecting income calculations and reviews. It contains 14 sections of law that affect public housing and Section 8 programs, along with multifamily housing. So it will affect every type of housing that we now normally are engaged upon creating. There are three main sections of Section 102, Section 103, and Section 104. The Section 103 dealt with over-income residents living in housing. So the Housing Authority had to make a decision of how we're going to treat people who are over-income. And for us, it was not a very difficult decision. We decided to try to work with those residents who are over income. And there are quite a few, because the income limits for residents of housing are not very high according to our standards. But if we have, for instance, a 2-income household living there, then they could easily be over income. And the next section is section 104. The deadline for compliance, which means we have to change all of our leases, rules, the ACOP, the CMAPs, everything to be in compliance with this mandate by January 1st, 2025. And as you know, when we came last year, we spoke a little bit about the rental assistance, demonstration program, or RAD. What I included for you this time are 5 things to know about RAD. First of all, it allows public housing agencies to leverage public and private debt and equity in order to reinvest in the public housing stock. The units must remain permanently affordable to low-income households. The residents continue to pay 30% of their income. RAD maintains the stewardship of the converted property, and it is a cost neutral, and it does not increase HUD's budget because, as you know, the majority of our funding comes from HUD. And the last time and thing that we wanted to portray was to congratulate the members of our resident council on 30 years of existence. I have some of the members with me here tonight. And as you know, 30 years is a long time to keep anything going. So last December, we had the gala, and we recognized so many of our residents at that time. So without them, we would not be here, and this is the reason why the Dublin Housing Authority does what it does. Tonight, I have with me our attorney that I would like to introduce to the board, to the mayor and council. And his name is Stuart Duggan from Rome, Georgia. And we have our development partner, Paul Robinson. And I'm going to ask them to come up and give you an update on what we are doing at this point.
Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for having me. I'm Stuart Duggan. I've met the mayor and Ms. Godfrey. Hello again. I'm just going to give sort of a quick overview. I'm an attorney from Rome, Georgia, and sort of my niche and primary practice is helping public housing authorities. I represent 25 or 30 different public housing authorities and consult with housing authorities in other states on occasion. And I'm part of the development team to help guide and to protect Dublin Housing Authority's interest as it goes into this development world, if you will, that Ms. Smith just described. I'm going to sort of give a little bit more detail just quickly so you can understand the RAD program. It's a HUD program it's a rental assistance demonstration program, the acronym being RAD. And historically, public housing authorities cannot use its funding and cannot use its assets or properties to borrow money. They can't leverage that in any way. Nationwide, the problem that HUD is having is that there's about a $60 billion backlog in terms of capital funds or renovations that need to be done nationwide. It's probably even more than that now with inflation and time. That was the last statistic I had a couple of years ago. And Congress doesn't want to fund it. They don't want to continue to fund it. And what you're seeing with public housing authorities nationwide is that the funding that they do get, which comes in the form of an operating fund and a capital fund, those are the two primary pieces of funding that all public housing authorities, including Dublin, receive. If you look at the graph, it's like this. There's certainly a few anomalies where it goes up, like during COVID, there was some extra funding, but it's going down and it's squeezing public housing authorities in their operations and their ability to renovate and keep their units habitable. In fact, there are well over 60,000 units offline nationwide at various public housing authorities because they don't have the funds and the resources to renovate or to bring them up to current standards. So what HUD has come up with this program called RAD, which allows the public housing program to be converted into the Housing Choice Voucher, otherwise known as the Section 8 program. And the beauty of that is really twofold. What it does is it takes the funding that Dublin, for example, is getting, that operating fund and the capital fund, and combines that amount of money and locks it in for a 20-year contract called a HAP contract. And so the beauty of it is it stabilizes the funding for the housing authority. And unlike what's happening in the public housing funding, you get a cost of living increase typically with the Section 8 voucher of just under 3% each year that increases the funding, which is unheard of in the public housing world. It also allows for the first time public housing authorities to take that funding contract known as a Housing Assistance Program contract, referred to as a HAP contract. It allows them to leverage that. Miss Brenda Smith just mentioned it's geared to bring in private equity instead of government funding, to partner with private equity so that they come in and fund all the renovations. How do they do that? They do that through the purchase of tax credits, low-income housing tax credits, which are allocated to the Georgia Department of Community Affairs on an annual basis, and then housing authorities and other developers in the state apply for that funding or for those tax credits. Georgia's unique in that it also has a state tax credit, just one of a few states that has that as well, which makes Georgia a very rich place to do affordable housing developments like this and to bring in private equity. So much so that DCA's allocations of tax credits are being exhausted, every year, whereas it used to have some extra here and there, even for 4% deals, and that's no longer the case. But in a nutshell, Dublin Housing Authority, they've hired a developer, Mr. Paul Robinson, who'll give you more detail, but he will apply in a competitive situation, typically, for these tax credits with Georgia DCA. Once that is allocated, bids will be received from U.S. Bank or just from big banks like Citibank, and they're required to buy these as a part of their portfolio. So they're very easy to sell. Bottom line is the housing authority will sell literally tens of millions of dollars of tax credits that it receives for nothing from DCA, and then those monies are used to rebuild or to reconstruct or to gut rehab, whatever the development plan is, at no cost to the housing authority. These funds do not have to be paid back, so it is a really good deal, if you will, an opportunity for public housing authorities and for communities like yours to transform housing that has become outdated or doesn't meet codes and that sort of thing, and it can beautify areas. You can see examples of that in Rome, in Gainesville, in Griffin, for example, just absolutely in LaGrange, just transformative. So I think that's the goal here. That gives you sort of an overview of what the program is and how we will be leveraging these tax credits to bring in private equity that will save the housing authority and this community and the city, millions and millions of dollars in construction costs and without having to get loans. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Yes, sir.
Well, I just want to thank you for that presentation and explanation. And I know that Mr. Robinson also has some additional comments, but
Right.
I'll just say that on my behalf, and I believe I speak for all of council, we're very excited about the opportunity to revitalize public housing and see this as a good mechanism for that, and appreciate Ms. Smith for pursuing this and for you guys for helping out with this. So I think we're interested to hear from Mr. Robinson.
And
how
just
it was-
one minor detail, I say minor, it's really a big deal that I wanted to add. This program protects the residents. In other words, the cost to the residents is nothing. If they're relocated, that's included in the budget. It will cost them nothing, and the amount they pay, if they're paying zero rent now because there's zero income, they will continue to pay zero rent.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson?
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Ms. Smith. I just want to say good afternoon to everyone and good evening and stuff. And this, we don't take this lightly in terms of making any kind of presentation about housing authorities and their ability to use the RAD program to convert their units. To follow up with what Stuart was saying is, it's a competitive process. And so one of the things about the competitive process, the City of Dublin and Dublin Housing Authority will be competing against every city in the state of Georgia. And so one of the things that we do well is we try to talk to the city about ways to make sure that the competitive application kind of meets the guidelines, and also will be able to score in a competitive way so that the deal can get scored and funded. And so there's two paths, the 4% and the 9%. Both of them now are competitive. Like Stuart said, it used to be that just the 9% was competitive. Now the 4% is competitive. And so things like a revitalization plan is extremely important for the housing authority to be included in any kind of revitalization plan that the city has come up with, because that gives you certain amount of points. And in the QAP scoring, it gives you 5 points. Any off-site improvements that have been done around any kind of the housing authority's properties would also give you points. So I think that I saw a roundabout that was recently constructed around the Dublin Housing Authority. What we would like to do is be able to retrieve all of that information in terms of costs, because based on the cost to the total development cost, you can get points for it. So zoning letters, we would need assistance with that. Utility letters, if there's anything that you all can help with that. So there's just a lot of things that we would like to talk to the city about to make sure that the Dublin Housing Authority has a competitive application. And forgive me for not saying this. I've been in this business for 25 years. I started off in just doing affordable housing tax credit deals all over Georgia and South Carolina. When the RAD program came about, it kind of changed my world. In 2013, I did my first deal with Northwest Georgia Housing Authority. And ever since then, I've just been in this RAD space. So our company, CPA Transformation, is only concerned with doing RAD deals. We're trying to perfect the process of closing RAD deals. These deals are very, very complicated, and sometimes they take 3 to 4 years. We're trying to truncate that closing process to anywhere between a year and 18 months. And so we're actually, I think, at that stage now of doing those kind of deals. And so any assistance that we can get from the city, we are a transparent company. We'll do over-education if necessary, because once we find out that the city understands what's taking place, the housing authority understands, the board understands, then all of a sudden the brain power can start working to make the best deal happen. One other final thing is, this is not just about building new buildings. One of the things that we kind of focus on a community transformation. We know public housing authorities' properties were 9 times out of 10 in really, really tough areas, where there was floodways, where there was train tracks, where there was airports and things like this. We've been all over the South and we've seen this. And now to be able to inject $30 million for a 100-unit deal, or $40 million for a $150 million deal, is just something that I think that every city, in terms of revitalizing their community, finds to be attractive. And we've been very, very successful with American Rescue Plan funding. So I know that trickled down, and then just keep in mind, if there's any way that the city of Dublin, through their county, has American Rescue Plan funding, we find that to be a very, very good tool to help with the housing authority in terms of repositioning their public housing assets. I know this is time consuming and stuff like this, but if there's any questions that you all might have, we're more than welcome to answer them.
Well, I appreciate both of you being here, and I know that some of us have seen a little bit of the presentation about the RAD program, and one of the things I think you'll find is that the city over the last 2 years has been investing a tremendous amount of money in these areas of town. I think that's going to help with the application, but of course, any assistance that you need from the city as far as information or anything like that, please let our city manager, Mr. Powell, know. Our city planner, Mr. Bradshaw, has access to all that information. And then if there are any specific requests for funding or projects that you need from council, I know that this could be a transformational project for our community. This, as you have said, could inject tens of millions of dollars into new public housing or revitalized public housing, which I think is desperately needed. So appreciate the work that you're doing on this. And I do just want to make sure I understand that there are certain mandatory deadlines as far as public hearings, and I understand that there are public hearings that had to be held in March and again in April. Are y'all meeting those deadlines? Is everything on track right now?
Yes, here's the thing, DCA accepts applications twice a year, one for 9% and one for 4%. The 9% applications are due in May. But before you even submit an application, you have to go through the HUD process. So in HUD-RAD deals, you've got HUD-RAD that you have to be accountable for, and then you also have the Department of Community Affairs that issues the low-income housing tax credits. So the RAD process, and I think we provided some kind of sheet or detailed list of that process. So we're in the evaluation stage of all the units that the Housing Authority has. We believe a holistic approach is the best approach, because then we can determine which deals will score based on the current QAP, and the QAP changes every year. Okay. And so I just want to say that we're not going to submit an application in May, but we do plan on submitting an application in October. Okay. And that's for the 4% round, and so we're up to date on all of those right now.
Well, I think that when we had discussed this before, that we were hoping to go with the 9% because that allows for new construction. Is that correct?
You're partly correct, and especially in other states. In the state of Georgia, fortunately, like Stuart said, they also have state tax credits. And so the state tax credits we found, because of the HUD rents, which, if you can imagine this, the higher the rents, the more debt you can put on the deal. And then with the combination of federal and state credits, we find that we can do new construction with 4% as well.
Okay. Any other questions from council on these items? And I know we could probably hold a whole meeting just on this, so maybe we'll have you guys back for an information session so that we can make sure that the city's doing everything necessary to support this. All right, thank you guys for coming this evening. Yeah. All right, Ms. Smith, thank you for coming.
I just have two other things to say. While we are embarking upon the RAD, we are still obligated to follow the regulations that we have before us. And the main one that we have coming up in April is our public hearing for our annual plan and our 5-year plan. So it will be on April the 11th at the Verlene P. Penny Center. And we are inviting everyone to come out and just give us your input into what we will be submitting at that time. And I also wanted to leave, again with Heather, our pilot payment, which is $58,368.43 for this year.
All right, it's always great whenever you bring money to the city council.
Ms. Brenda, did you have a time for the April 11th public hearing?
I believe it's at 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Smith, for coming this evening and for the presentation.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll move to item number 5 on our agenda, which is discussion and action on a resolution to approve the CDBG application for Mary Street improvements. Mr. Powell.
This is Resolution 2405, a resolution of the City of Dublin, Georgia, by and through its mayor and council, authorizing the submittal of a 2024 application for funding from the Georgia Department of Community Affairs under the Community Development Block Grant Program for an amount up to $1 million for street flood, drainage, and sidewalk improvements on West Mary Street to provide for an effective date and for other lawful purposes. The council has already engaged grant specialists of Georgia to write this grant for us. This is a document required to be included with the grant application to indicate that the council has approved the grant application as well as is committed to funding the required match, and that we have a plan in place to carry out the project if the grant is awarded. And so that is the purpose of the resolution. But this project, to remind everybody, is to improve the street and drainage, install a sidewalk along West Mary Street from Jefferson all the way just past Church Street, North Church Street.
Yeah, and this is actually the kind of thing that would get more points for the RAD application because of the project zone. So we've discussed this in pre-council regarding the council's willingness to commit to the match of $153,000. Are there any questions for staff at this time? If there are not, do we have a motion?
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Councilman Jones, a second from Councilman Brown. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, we'll now move to item number 6 on the agenda, which is additional travel for council members Jones and Smith. Mr. Powell.
Pursuant to the council's travel policy, each council member is allocated a certain amount of funds each year for their travel. And some council members use more travel than others. And the overall travel budget for the city council we're well within that budget. Council members Benny Jones and Chris Smith have historically gone to the National League of Cities Conference, which is going to take place in Washington, D.C. They've represented the city well there for many years, and are asking for approval for additional travel for their budgets for this trip.
All right, so we've discussed this in pre-council as well, that these funds are available in our overall council travel budget. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Brown and a second from Councilman Godfrey. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right. We'll look forward to getting some information from the National League of Cities, and maybe whenever y'all come back, y'all can bring us some great ideas and plans for the city of Dublin. Next is item number 7 on the agenda, which is discussion and action on a resolution to adopt the Parks Master Plan. At this time, before we get into the actual resolution itself, we'll ask our representative from Maypop Collaborative, Mel, to come forward and make some comments on the master plan process.
Sure. Thank you very much for the time, guys. And it has been a year, and I'm very proud to have this plan in front of you. A couple of things I just wanted to mention as part of the City Parks Master Plan. As you look through it, you will notice that there was a lot of emphasis on community input. From the very beginning, we wanted this plan to be informed by the community, and we had a combination of pop-up meetings, online input, community listening sessions, focus groups. We had design workshops. We've had the initial input from the community that helped us frame what direction the plan needed to go in. Then we had people helping us put pencil to paper, designing park concepts. We took those concepts back out to everyone to ask, what do you think? What's good, what's bad? And then from there, we developed final plans that we also put out once again for comment and had some in-person pop-up sessions. We've been to pancake dinners, chili cook-offs, hot air balloon festivals, arts festivals, the mall. We've been all over the place and really been impressed by everything your community has to offer. I think that there's an excitement over improving and revitalizing these parks. And through Dublin City Parks and these park improvement plans and the dedication that you have as elected officials to making this happen, really looking forward to seeing the treasure that you have in your city parks becoming once again a place where families can make new memories and enjoy beautiful municipal spaces. So that's the whole point. You will see in this plan, you've got the community input section, you have information about assessment and analysis, and then your park plans with cost estimates and implementation strategies, and then you've got goals and strategies as far as operations and capital budget goes. So we're excited to have this plan put together for you, and we look forward to seeing it implemented and coming back to visit your new beautiful city parks. Thank you.
Thank you for all the work that you did. You really brought a lot of passion to this job or this project, and you've been to Dublin a lot, and you've gotten to know our community and know our council members. You also came to our goal planning session, where we went over as a full council all these plans. We spent a lot of time going through all the concepts, and just appreciate all the work that you put into this. I think it's fair to say that this was a completely transparent process that was open to all viewpoints and comments from everybody in the community, and I think that the concept plans turned out great. One of the things that we did discuss, which is beyond the scope of today's motion, but is how do we implement this now? How do we get from the concept phase to actual improvements to the parks? And so the adoption of the master plan this evening, if council adopts the master plan, provides a roadmap and it provides concepts, and then we will have very specific things that council will have to vote on as far as implementing that through phases probably over the next 5 to 10 years. And one of the things that we voted on just this evening was doing some hydrology studies for some of the pond works. And I think at our next council meeting, we're going to have a vote probably on funding for playground equipment. And hopefully we will continue at each council meeting to have more opportunities to vote on particular funds for adding to and implementing these concepts. Do we have, I know we talked about this extensively at goal planning and some at pre-council. Are there any questions or comments?
Can we let the public know, the website all these plans will be on?
Yeah, I will make sure and get this up, so it will be up by tomorrow on the dublincityparks.com, on the website, the full plan for everyone to look at. And I can pull out the master plan designed separately for the people who don't want to dig through a
through the whole-
100-plus
right.
page document. We'll have those out there. for
And
people
that's
to look
called dublincityparks.com.
Right.
There's a link to it on our website, or will be.
Ms. Mel, can we also put the whole document?
Well, yeah, I'll put the whole document and I'll put them plans, so there'll be both things. So
People-
there's full version and plan, just plans.
Picture version.
Yeah.
And Mayor, would you let the constituents know which parks we're planning to put the playground equipment in as soon as we possibly can?
Sure. So at our goal planning session, we discussed that the first thing we want to do is get playground equipment into Stubbs, Pritchett, Springdale, and Hilburn. So there'll be new playground equipment at all four of those parks. And, I will kind of say this, it's disappointing, but there's about a 6-month lead time from the time you order to the time of installation. So if we are able to vote on this and approve the funds at our next meeting.
8 weeks.
Oh, 8 weeks? Oh, well, that's much better than what we thought initially. Okay, well, great. So maybe we're only 3 months out from having it done. So that's
I should
good.
have left you with 6 months.
Yeah, I know. Last time we talked, it was 6 months. So I'm glad that they're able to get it done faster now. So that means that possibly by summer we'll have 4 new playgrounds in place.
That's staff's goal. We're
Okay,
hoping.
great. And then beyond that, the nature trail at Springdale, the county voted this week to provide in-kind services for a small pond and nature trail at the back of Springdale Park that will connect to the new playground equipment that will go out there in the next few months. And we hope that if that hydrology study can be done relatively quickly, the county's ready to start working as soon as we get the study done to make sure. And the good thing, if you live on Westchester Drive, this will also, the work done at the Springdale Nature area will reduce the stormwater runoff from the Springdale area and reduce, I know in the past there were some flooding instances on Westchester Drive, and that should be addressed by this project. So it's going to be a win-win from that perspective. Beyond that, we've got the playground equipment and the nature trail and the ponds. And beyond that, we'll just take the next piece at a time as the money becomes available.
So with this vote tonight, we have to vote later whether or not which plan of Stubbs Park we're going with.
That's right.
Understand that we are not vote. We need to understand it.
Right.
They're both in there.
I'll say, I wrote the plan so that both plans for Stubbs are in there, and then at the time that you're getting ready to implement Stubbs Park, and you're going to be looking at moving to that next step, which is getting those design and construction drawings, that's when you're going to make your decision of which direction you want to go. But they are both in the plan.
And I think it's important to emphasize, as much work was put into these are still concept plans.
Exactly. These are high-level concepts. These are not just construction drawings. This is a guide, and the plan is meant to be flexible, and it's meant to allow you the flexibility to make decisions as opportunities arise. No plan's going to last a full 10 years. It's not set in stone. These are living documents. This is a guide that you can take and change and adapt as you need and as your conditions change and as funding becomes available, because a lot of these projects are really wonderful opportunities to pursue grant funding and stretch the funding that you have available and do matching so that as much as possible you're able to match and extend these dollars.
Okay. All right. Do we have any
have a
other?
question.
Yeah.
So when we adopt
Godfrey.
this master plan tonight, the street over by Oconee Gym that we plan to close off, would that happen immediately or?
That is further down the road, and whenever the time comes to implement that particular park master plan.
So,
Part of that.
and the master plan does include a phasing system, And so somewhere in that phasing, I can't remember where it is those improvements to the Oconee Gym area or the Oconee Fields area. But as we get the money to reach that phase, then that's when we would have to vote on that.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? All right. It's been a long time coming, but I really appreciate you getting this done and coming tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
At this time, Mr. Powell, do you want to go over the resolution that we need to adopt?
Sure, it's Resolution 2406, a resolution by the Mayor and Council of the City of Dublin to adopt and approve the City of Dublin Parks Master Plan, to authorize the termination of the intergovernmental agreements with the Dublin Lawrence Recreation Authority regarding lease and maintenance of city parks and the Southern Pines Water Park, to set an effective date and for other lawful purposes. And just for clarity, this does adopt the Parks Master Plan, and as we start to make these capital improvements in the parks, and in discussion with the Recreation Authority, who the council currently has an agreement with for maintenance of our city parks, it's been agreed that we should take that back into the city and maintain our parks ourselves. And the agreement for Southern Pines Water Park was done for the purpose of constructing the water park, and the primary purpose of it was that the city paid all the upfront capital costs of the water park to be constructed, entered into an agreement with the Recreation Authority. They own the water park, and we had rights to the profits from it. Part of that also was they paid the city back $500,000 in SPLOST funds to cover some of the cost, just a portion of the cost of constructing the water park. That has all been paid and done. They're maintaining the water park now, and we've agreed to go ahead and terminate that agreement because they're able to maintain it going forward. We will have for council another agreement to assist the Recreation Authority with some capital improvements for the water park that we'll bring to you at a future date. But we're thankful for the Recreation Authority for their work on our city parks and keeping them maintained over these past, it's been 20 some odd years, and are looking forward to the future capital improvements that we've done. This will give the Recreation Authority the ability to focus on their properties that they own, which is Southern Pines primarily. So.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you to Chris Smith and Rich Mascara, as well as our Tiffany Stanley. Those are the city's representative to the Recreation Authority. You guys were great to work with as far as getting this ironed out with the Rec Authority and the county and making sure that this was a good agreement for everybody. Appreciate y'all taking the lead on that. Do we have any other comments or questions regarding this? All right, at this time, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to adopt the Parks Master Plan.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to adopt the master plan from Councilman Mascara with a...
Clarify, we're approving the resolution.
Excuse me, this is actually... can you restate the motion as an approval of the resolution? We've got a lawyer here, so we just need it for the minutes.
How would you like me to say it, Mr. Powell?
Approve the resolution.
I make a motion to approve the Parks Master Plan.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
I make a motion to approve the resolution for the Parks Master Plan.
There we go. All right, and do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Councilman Griggs. And this is all for the benefit of our clerk, who is taking these records for future historians to pore over one day. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, thank you again for coming this evening. Appreciate the presentation. We'll now move to item number 8 on the agenda, which is a resolution to approve an agreement with Flock Group, Inc. for the Raven Gunshot Detection System. Mr. Powell.
So Resolution 2407, a resolution of the City of Dublin, Georgia, by and through its mayor and council, approving a contract with Flock Group Incorporated for a 24-month service and equipment agreement concerning the Flock Safety Raven for the City of Dublin, to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the same, set an effective date, and for other lawful purposes. Flock Group, as the public's heard several times, I'm sure, provides many services by way of law enforcement. Some are the tag readers that we already have through town. They also provide a service that is for the Falcon live view surveillance cameras, which we've also approved. The council's also approved and purchased. This is what they call the Raven service that they provide, which is a gunshot detection software. They will set these devices within a 1 square mile radius, and the devices will be set at strategic locations so that if a gunshot goes off, it will be able to detect the exact location of that and notify law enforcement within seconds of where that is in town. Currently, if a gunshot occurs and then the public starts calling in to 911, they have to try to decipher through that, and one person may think they heard it in this direction and somebody thinks it's in another direction, and they'll spend 10 to 20 minutes trying to figure out where it happened. This will alleviate that and allow for them to be notified immediately where the location is, and they can head straight there. And in many circumstances, other cities have found that they've been able to get to the scene before the first calls even come in. So this is for a 60-day trial of this to see how it works and make sure that our local police department are satisfied with the service. If we decide we don't want it, we can cancel without any financial penalty for that. If we decide to keep it, then it's $35,000 a year, so 1 square mile.
All right, and I appreciate our chief coming in and discussing this a little bit more, both at our goal planning session and this evening. One of the things that he's pointed out is that the response time to a gunshot, that within 4 seconds it's going to pop up on the computer screens that are in the patrol cars. So if you've got 7 cars on patrol, within 4 seconds they're going to know where a gunshot occurred within roughly 60 feet. And so they'll be en route to that location within seconds, which is totally different than the current system, which is you wait till calls get reported through 911, and then you have multiple cars wandering through various neighborhoods trying to find somebody who's already disappeared. So the goal here is to eliminate or reduce as much as possible these gunshots that are occurring in town. This is people just firing up into the air, but most of them are just firing up in the air. But this is a quality of life issue. This is about making it both safer and more comfortable to live in town, in our neighborhoods. And I have great hopes for this program. I hope that this is going to make a big difference, because we're going to be able to get those police resources right to the point of the gunshot. And I think that the bad guys are going to learn really fast. If you shoot a gun inside the city of Dublin, there's going to be a police officer at your door within just minutes. So at this time, do we have any questions for staff regarding this proposal, this resolution? All right, if not, do we have a motion?
What's to approve?
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Councilman Jones and a second from Councilman Brown. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right, this time we'll move to item number 9, which is discussion and action on declaration of surplus. Mr. Powell.
We have 6 items in the council's packet for your consideration for declaring surplus to be sold on Gov Deals. There's some slightly used golf cart. Just needs a little buffing. And we got some bad boy zero-turn mowers, if anybody would like to add to their lawn cutting business. And we have some pieces of furniture that came from City Hall that we no longer have a need for. It's a conference table and a large shelf unit.
All right. Do we need a motion on this?
Motion and a second.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the declaration of surplus.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Councilman Colby and a second from Councilman Godfrey. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. The item that was added to the agenda this evening was the municipal court judge appointment. We received a letter today from Harold McClendon, who has been the City of Dublin's municipal court judge for 19 years, that by law he is required to resign as municipal court judge, as he is qualified in a partisan election to run for district attorney. That it was a legal requirement that you can't serve as a judge while you are running for an office. So with his resignation, which we understood would be coming, there's now a vacancy in the municipal court judge position, and council, our personnel committee, reviewed a couple of resumes and made a recommendation to the full council, and the full council conducted an interview. And at this time, we'll open the floor for a motion regarding appointment of a municipal court judge.
Make a motion to appoint, do we need to say the name?
Lauren Kirkland, is that, okay.
I'll make a motion to appoint Lauren Kirkland as the Dublin Municipal Court Judge.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. All right, so we have a motion from Councilman Mascara and a second from Councilman Griggs. Any discussion on the motion? Anybody want to make any comments regarding this? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We look forward to working with Ms. Kirkland. She is an attorney based in Truitland County, is that correct?
Well, that's where she's from originally. She works out of Vidalia.
Out of Vidalia, that's right. So we look forward to having her in town. She's not related to or doesn't work with many people here, so she will be a very neutral person to hear the cases coming before municipal court. And this appointment will go through our, I believe, January. The first term in January is when there's
It's
a
reappointed
new,
every January.
yeah. So this appointment is through the next appointment date, which is the first meeting in January 2025. All right. The next item on the agenda is discussion and action on board appointments. We have 4 different appointments to the Youth Council Commission that need to be made. At this time, I'm going to nominate 4 persons to fill the slots. The first nomination is that we reappoint Jackie Curtis for the term ending in December 2026. Jackie Curtis, as everyone knows, is the Director of Community Schools and has worked previously with the Youth Council Commission. My second nomination is Linda
Usry.
Linda Usry. There is an open seat on the board with a term through 2026. Ms. Usry is a retired teacher and works as a substitute teacher at the Dublin City School System. Third nomination is Darius Knight. Darius Knight was a former youth council mayor who's now in college, but he's indicated that he'd like to continue to remain involved with the youth council, and we're excited that he's interested in doing that. His term would also go through December of 2026. Olivia Eason has an unexpired term. She moved out of town and so was no longer eligible or was no longer able to come to the meetings. And so her open seat, I'm nominating Josh White to fill. Josh White is the assistant principal at Dublin High School, and this would be for the term that expires on January 2nd, 2025. So those are my nominations. We just need a motion to accept the nominations if that's the desire of council.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, so we have a motion from Councilman Jones and a second from Councilman Smith. All those in favor of these nominations, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. All right. This has been a long one, but we have made it to citizens' comments. So at this time, I know that we had talked about you starting us off with citizens' comments. You can, okay.
Don't matter.
All right. You're welcome to come on forward.
Hi. This is new to me, so I don't know what I need to do or say, but I'm here.
Oh, first, just to
Oh,
give us you
my
can just
name,
introduce
yes.
yourself with your name and where you live, and then
Okay.
Ms. Browning, our clerk, she always sets a 3-minute timer for everybody. It's nothing
Okay.
personal, it's just a timer, so you've got
Yes.
3 minutes.
My name is Elsie Dunn. I'm with Edified Teams, and I'm a resident now of Dublin, Georgia, a year. The reason why I came is because I bought some land on Westmore, and I was planning on building duplex there, low-income houses for my girls' program, and I was going to resign there as well. Maybe 3-4 months ago, the city came, the drainage that's on Mary Street, they had to come on the land and dig to actually unstop the drainage because it was a ditch there. My concern is now to where they came and they digged the ditch, they took away the dirt and all the other stuff that's there, and I was just trying to figure out what's going to happen now, because I did talk to Mr. Matt Brishaw, but I guess I misunderstood what he said. I thought that the drainage was going to run across all the way to West Moore, but talking with Mr. Powell, he said, you know, it wasn't, and the grant wasn't going to be for that. That's my responsibility. So right now, I just have a big old hole sitting there that, you know, the city came on the property and
stop the drainage. So want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so this is the kind of issue that I think your ward representative and maybe Mr. Powell maybe can get with you after the meeting and discuss and see if there's, normally this is the type of thing that staff would assist with. If it gets beyond that, we'll be glad to take a look at it as a council.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming this evening.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
great to see you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Did you get her name? Okay. Who's her ward representative? Any? She with you?
Good evening. I'm Sally Underwood from Dublin Housing Authority, and I'm gonna speak on my half and the half of the Housing Authority, which y'all doing a good job, but the red light and the stop signs right by the park, I think it should be one put back, and the one on Church Street is 9 red lights right there. And I have a granddaughter. I have a great grand. And my granddaughter loved to go to the park. And when I'm not there, she goes. And I'm speaking for all of, on my behalf, Housing Authority, which have a lot of kids that go to the park, and it's gonna be a bad wreck one day. And I know for myself, all of y'all do not want to go to a little kid's funeral or a adult funeral. And I know y'all have a lot, and I think, it should be put back. The red light and the stop signs.
Okay.
About Jollies?
I think you're talking about the corner of
The corner of
Calhoun and Moore.
yes.
Okay. All right. We'll definitely have our traffic engineer look at that and make sure. I mean, maybe we can put a crosswalk or something like that. But I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, and we'll get the city planner and traffic engineer to see what we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am, in the back.
It's judo.
You can only come up here if you've got gold in there.
She got her own timer.
Miss Jacqueline, you don't trust me with my timer?
All right, Ms. Wright, let's just make sure we're following the rules, though. If you can introduce yourself and where you live, and Ms. Browning will start the timer.
That was only a joke. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Jadon Wright. I'm tall. Just a minute.
She all right?
Time is over. Lord, forget something. I live at 603 Hudson Drive. You all have to excuse me. I haven't been around because I'm suffering from an upper respiratory infection. It makes breathing hard for me. I'm here tonight as a leprechaun. A leprechaun of the citizen. Although I throw my shamrocks out to you, I'm here to say that all of us are proud parts of the citizens of Dublin. We are about to spring forward. There are a lot of activities that are being held all through the month of March. One such activity that will be coming up will be the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Of course, I'll be there. Of course, I already have my pancake supper tickets. I could not get my ticket to the luncheon with Governor Kemp. Somehow they sold out too quickly. But because I'm a team player, and everyone in this room is a team player, I would like to see a lot of things happen in the city of Dublin from March on. So I'm gonna say this, my most traditional Irish blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. That's one blessing. And at the end, hopefully it's not over yet, I would like to say, may love and laughter light your days and warm your heart and home. May good and faithful friends be yours wherever you may roam. May peace and plenty bless your world with joy that long endures. May all life's passing seasons bring the best to you and yours. You all have a good day. I'll see you at some of these activities.
All right, thank you for that. And I sure hope you get to feeling better. All right, Mr. Hall.
My name is John Hall. I live at 307 West Gain Street, which is right by Church Street. Past meetings, y'all declared an emergency on fixing the sewer pipes, and I haven't heard anything about the project, so I'd like to know, when is it going to start? It's now spring and nice and warm. You've got a beautiful plan for the park, but you better fix the sewage pipe that's right next to Stubbs Park.
All right, any other comments? And we'll give an update at the end of citizens' comments regarding that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Yes.
My name's Andrew Roundtree. About a year and a half ago, God put a steering committee in Lawrence County. And tonight, we've already heard about the future plan, the master plan, and I guess I was nominated to come tell you God's plan. We held what we do is we plan and organize community-sized revivals. And the first one was in October out at the East Lawrence High School football field, the new field. The next one, as you got the handout, the next one will be at Dublin High School Auditorium, April 27th and 28th. Now, going through the flyers real quick. Right now, we're in the midst of a fundraiser to try to offset the cost of putting on such an event. I'm retired military, and I am all about leadership. I don't believe that Dublin can get to where y'all have been talking about Dublin getting to tonight without leadership. On the second page, you'll read where it talks about the event and why we have the event. The event is called Let Unity Abound Rally. And it's a revival with a twist. What God is trying to do, or what God wants to do, is to bring a community together. Now, what does that look like? We are reaching out to churches, businesses, schools, and the individual. If you read in the book of Acts, it says one accord. That's the point that God wants to get to in Dublin. Everybody on one accord. The last flyer in your packet will show who will be ministering. We ask, as the steering committee, we ask for the leadership of Dublin to not just support, I wouldn't stand in front of you if all I had to do was to ask you for money. But we're asking the leadership to promote, and there's 900 seats at the Dublin High School auditorium. We're asking the leadership to fill some of them up next month. Now, I just feel led tonight to be an advocate for the homeless. I'm not going to assume that y'all don't have any thoughts on the homeless, but I want to be an advocate just in case you don't. There's over 100 people living out there in the woods or anywhere they can find some shelter. Let's just put it that way. And we got a lot of babies out there that are homeless.
Mr. Roundtree, your time's up. I'm sorry.
3 minutes.
If you can just,
Finish
yeah, if
what
you
you're saying.
can
Go
just
ahead.
conclude your comments and then.
I'll make it quick. That was a quick 3 minutes. Okay, but we've heard a lot about the projects in Dublin tonight. I want to leave with the thought of the people. And I don't think, in the local newspaper, I read all the time about the beautification of Dublin. But I would like to submit, Dublin can't be beautified if it's got a homeless problem. To me, they don't mesh. What I'm talking about is not a handout, but a hand up. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you coming this evening and sharing these materials with us. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to speak this evening? Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'll make this very short. I'm Tanya Thomas Berry, and I live at 446 Willow Point Drive in Dublin. On behalf of Keep Dublin, Lawrence Beautiful, I am the chairperson for the Great American Cleanup. That's a national program that's done every year. And this time in Dublin, it's only been one day. The event will be a whole week so that hopefully everyone can participate and choose a day or hour when they can participate in cleaning up. Cleaning up doesn't mean just picking up trash. It can be anything from helping someone trim their hedges, helping someone paint their deck, picking up litter on the side of the road. I've gotten with the schools, and we plan on getting with business and churches. And it's all for the whole county. Montrose, Cadwell, East Dublin, Dudley, Dexter, Rockledge, and Dublin. We have reached out to all these towns and their mayors and asked for the corporation. And I have also, hopefully I think it went in you all's pamphlets for tonight, and I would please like for each one of you all to make sure that someone forms a team from your area so that we can have a great participation. With this being national, we have teams and individuals so that we have a tracking on how many people are helping with this. It's on the Dublin City page, cityofdublin.org. It's from April 13th to April 20th. That's a Saturday to a Saturday. And on the 20th at 1 o'clock, we'll have a volunteer luncheon appreciation for everybody who has participated in helping out. And hopefully we'll give out some prizes and trophies for those individuals that helped out. The littlest to the biggest thing is all that counts in improving the city so that it can be a stunning place for ourselves and our visitors. And let's try to show a little pride and let it be contagious on picking up litter and trash. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Berry. Appreciate your volunteer efforts. All right, is there anyone else who'd like to make a comment this evening? If not, then we'll have comments from staff and council members. Mr. Daniels?
No comments.
Ms. Browning?
No comment, thank you.
All right, Mr. Brown?
Thank you, everybody, for being here, and I appreciate all the comments and enjoy the St. Patrick's festivities as they are plentiful. Thank you.
Councilman Jones?
Thank you, man. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. I'd like to congratulate Ms. Conaway on her award for recognition for her service. And I'd like to remind everyone that we do have youth council applications are out now. You see the Dublin website, going to youth services and finding youth council applications. Also, we have the application for the Black History Festival, for the Black History banners. They are out, so you have to end of May to fill that out. If you know someone that you feel like is worthy of getting a banner, please go up there, go on the City of Dublin website, just pop up there, fill out that application and turn that in. All the instructions are there, so please, please, please participate. And everyone be safe. The pollen is out, so do what you have to do to protect yourselves from the pollen and the spring.
All right, thank you for those comments. Councilman Godfrey.
Thank you all for coming out. I'd like to thank Mrs. Brenda Smith for your presentation. I'm excited about the RAD program. Thank you, Mel, for your presentation. Ms. Georgia, thank you for your years of service. I look forward to everyone else getting involved in the Great American Cleanup. I'm very excited. And just thank you all for being here tonight. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Councilman Colby.
It's just wonderful to see everybody here tonight participating and active. I think it's such an important thing for us to get out and not only engage our communities on this level, on a city level, but in our own personal neighborhood. So I'm excited to hear about how people are engaged in their housing authority and with the Parks Master Plan and cleaning up our neighborhoods. And we're so grateful to our faith community as well, because we know we don't exist without that here. And so we're thankful that you're here.
All right, thank you. Mr. Powell, I know we normally end with you, but I'd forgotten about the update on the Church Street Sewer Project. Can you just real quickly tell us where we are on that?
Yeah, we've got the design done by the engineers, and we've solicited for the quotes from a couple of different contractors, and those are going to be open on the 19th.
So March 19th?
And council's already approved us to go ahead with awarding it to the low bid, so we'll do that immediately.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then construction time that'll be determined then. So.
All right, thank you for that. Councilman Griggs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank everybody for coming and echo what everybody else has said. Y'all have a great week.
Councilman Smith.
I too want to thank everyone for coming. I also want to thank Ms. Jacqueline White for always coming to the council chambers, bringing a smile to everyone's face. Every time she comes, she brings a smile. So I just want to thank you for that. Thank you, Ms. Conway, for your years of service. Ms. Brenda, for your presentation and what you're doing at the Housing Authorities and the direction you're going is greatly appreciated. And I also want to thank council for working together as a team, trying to take strides to move the city forward, and for the actual investments we are making to the city for beautification and the safety for our citizens. And it's a lot of festivities. Everyone have fun and stay safe.
All right, great. Thank you, Councilman Smith. Councilman Mascara.
I just want to thank everybody for coming tonight. There's been a lot of thank yous. I echo all of them. Y'all have a good St. Patrick's month, and stay safe.
All right. Thank everyone for being here. This meeting is adjourned.
In a while.